Welcome to this week's edition of This Week in Civil Engineering, also known as TWICE, a weekly news show focused on providing civil engineering professionals with the most important and relevant industry updates. I'm your host for this episode, Kamini Fenley. I'm a practicing civil engineer based in New York City, and I focus on land development projects of all different sizes. You can find all the episodes for This Week in Civil Engineering at twice.news. That's twice, TWICE.news. References to all the stories mentioned will be covered in the episode show notes, and if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to our engineering news playlist to get all of the latest updates on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/engineering careers. Now it's time to see what's happening this week in civil engineering. PERCEPTO raises $45 million for robots that inspect critical infrastructure, from Kyle Wiggers at VentureBeat.com. Autonomous inspection solutions company PERCEPTO today announced a $45 million round. The funds come as PERCEPTO pivots from a drone-based product to general robotics-driven inspections incorporating third-party platforms like Boston Dynamics' Spot. According to a report from Technavio, the inspection robot market has the potential to grow to $3.72 billion between 2020 and 2024, bolstered by industries spanning energy, oil, gas, and mining. Beyond their cost effectiveness, robots have the ability to travel where humans can't, either for safety or physical reasons. Machines like Spot can also be equipped with specialized hardware that delivers more detailed, consistent analytics and insights than an inspector could. PERCEPTO is the brainchild of Dor Abuhasira and Raviv Raz, who were inspired to create the company's first product, a quadcopter dubbed Sparrow 1. Sparrow 1 can be piloted on demand or autonomously, operates during day or night, and integrates with connected devices like smart fences and motion detectors to respond to alerts. The carbon fiber composite drone, which packs a rechargeable battery, 5G compatible radios, an integral parachute, and high-end resolution RGB or red-green-blue camera, and a thermal camera weighs about 19 pounds and can fly up to 3 miles round trip at speeds upwards of 46 miles per hour and a maximum height of 400 feet. It has a quoted flight time of about 38 minutes and can land in snow and rain and is able to withstand winds up to 150 miles per hour. PERCEPTO's software leverages Sparrow 1's sensor data to track humans, vehicles, and other anomalies in real time, and its orchestration dashboard enables drone pilots to define no-fly zones, free flight areas, and emergency landing zones with geofenced sites. It ties in with PERCEPTO's new Autonomous Inspection Monitoring, or AIM platform, which allows customers to operate a fleet of third-party robots by deploying the most suitable machine for a task to retrieve and stream data. It sounds like the inspection robot industry will be booming, and no doubt these robots will play a role in assisting civil engineering professionals and firms in completing projects. Next up, let's look at an interesting story from Europe. Research proves carbon dioxide reduction benefits of road maintenance, from Adrian Tatum at highwaynews.com. Wide-ranging research has found that keeping roads well maintained not only saves money, but also reduces traffic carbon dioxide. Implementing planned programs of preventative road maintenance is far more cost-effective than repairing potholes. It costs 3 to 5 sterling pounds per 2 square meters, which is approximately $4 to $7 US, for approximately 22 square feet to surface, dress, and maintain a road, but costs on average 50 sterling pounds per square meter, or approximately $67 US per approximately 11 square feet to repair potholes. Research has found this contribution can be significant. A technical report, analysis of the relationship between road pavement maintenance condition, fuel consumption, and vehicle emissions, published earlier this year by the Brussels-based Smart Transport Alliance, found good road surface conditions result in reduction of fuel consumption and carbon dioxide emissions up to 3.5% for light vehicles and 4% for heavy vehicles. The European Automobile Manufacturers Association believes that maintaining a European road network with planned programs of surface dressing could result in a carbon dioxide emission reduction of 5% by 2035. The improved road surface condition resulting from preventative maintenance programs can save highway authorities spending by 10% to 30%, reduce gas houses by up to 2%, and allow drivers to reduce their fuel consumptions by 2 to 5%. This story goes to show you that there are many ways to preserve or improve infrastructure, and we really need to investigate them further. Next up, U.S. news and civil engineering. The Federal Highway Administration proposes changes in design standards for highway repairs resurfacing, from Tom Michnowski at ENR.com. The Federal Highway Administration has proposed a regulation that it says will give state departments of transportation more flexibility in settling design standards for resurfacing, restoration, and rehabilitation, also known as RRR projects, on existing interstate highways and other key arteries. The Federal Highway Administration says in its proposal, these proposed design standards provide a range of acceptable values for highway features, allowing for flexibility that best suits the desires of the community while satisfying the purpose of the project and needs for its users. The proposal won't apply to maintenance resurfacing. Federal Highway Administration has set a tight deadline of December 24th for receiving comments on its proposal. The new regulation would allow states to follow up to updated AASHTO, or American Association of State Highway and Transportation Officials, and other standards without the need for an FHWA exception. It would also apply to resurfacing and other rehab projects on the national highway system. These systems include the interstates plus major federally funded arteries, such as routes with the name starting with US. As of 2014, the NHS includes 226,767 miles. It is great to see the Federal Highway Administration looking to help out these state DOTs where they can. Next up, let's head over to the Midwest. Minnesota gives final green light to disputed oil pipeline, from Steve Karanowski at APnews.com. Minnesota regulators approved the final permit Monday for Enbridge Energy's Line 3 crude oil pipeline replacement across northern Minnesota, giving the company the green light to begin construction on the $2.6 billion project. The Minnesota Pollution Control Agency granted a construction stormwater permit for the project, which was the last hurdle that Calgary, Alberta-based Enbridge needed to clear after years of reviews and court battles. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and the independent Minnesota Public Utilities Commission gave their final approvals last week. Line 3 is poised to prove significant economic battles for counties, small businesses, Native American communities, and union members, bringing 4,200 family-sustaining, mostly local construction jobs, millions of dollars in local spending, and additional tax revenues at a time when northern Minnesota needs it the most. Line 3 begins in Alberta, Canada, and clips a corner of North Dakota before crossing Minnesota, on its way to Enbridge's terminal in Superior, Wisconsin. The replacement segments in Canada, North Dakota, and Wisconsin are already complete, leaving only a 337-mile or 542-kilometer stretch in Minnesota. Altogether, Enbridge expects to spend $2.9 billion on U.S. portion. Next up, some career advice for you. Now here's some career advice for you. It might be really difficult right now to look back and ask yourself what you accomplished professionally after this very strange year. Personally, I like to list my small wins every month to track my progress. It's much easier to look back on the course of a few weeks than it is to look back an entire year and ask yourself, what did I do this year? Maybe you attended a networking event and made a new connection. Perhaps you brought a new client to your firm, had the opportunity to present to a project team, or obtained a really difficult permit approval. In this next year, start to list your wins and career advancements each month, and you'll see how it motivates you for the next month. I've also found this strategy to be really helpful when it's time for your annual company review. Here's to your professional success in 2021. Next up, let's move on to some international news from civil engineering this past week. First up, we are headed to France for a very interesting story. Take the smart road to a connected, adaptable, eco-friendly future. From Lori Belmont at redshift.autodesk.com. With nearly 750,000 miles of road, France boasts the largest network in all of Europe. Rebuilding it today would cost 2 trillion euros or $2.375 trillion, not far off the nation's gross domestic product. Fortunately, road traffic, which is responsible for more than half of the nitrogen oxide emissions of the Île-de-France region surrounding Paris, is evolving towards greener forms of transportation, such as car sharing, bike sharing, e-bikes, and trams. Vehicle modernization is the perfect example of why infrastructure needs to adapt. Due to regulations on carbon dioxide emissions, cars have been the first to go green, whether electric or hybrid. These new vehicles require not only space for parking, but also suitable recharging stations and road signage. A dynamic road signage system would also allow for better management of commuter traffic. And this is the goal for France's first ever carpooling lane, which opened in September of 2020. The lane extends across 5 miles of the A48 highway on the outskirts of the southeastern town of Grenoble on a stretch of road that is particularly affected by congestion. The benefits of the carpool lane are twofold. Traffic jams are alleviated and carbon dioxide emissions are reduced. In Grenoble, carpooling lanes require adaptive signage equipped with sensors that can detect the number of people in a vehicle. On September 3, 2020, the French government announced a recovery plan to allocate 1.2 billion euros to everyday mobility in order to encourage infrastructure development. This fund was subdivided to cover 2 main uses: to double resources for cycling traffic and to improve existing public transport and create exclusive routes to expand these services. A total of 550 million euros is earmarked to speed up transportation infrastructure work that is currently underway. Next up, staying right over in Europe. How robots are giving Europe's construction industry a boost, from Julian Gomez at Euronews.com. The construction industry is vital to Europe's economy, providing around 18 million direct jobs, contributing to about 9% of the European Union's GDP. The Hephaestus project explores the innovative use of robots and autonomous systems in the construction industry. European researchers have developed a cable-driven robot as a part of the project. 8 flexible cables allow the robot to rotate and move in all different directions around a 100 square meter mock-up of a 3-story building facade. The system can hold several different tools and is able to install and maintain heavy curtain walls. Bigger construction surfaces need longer cables and different geometric patterns. Scientists working on the European research project say the main challenge is getting the cable tension right. The cost of it depends on the tension. The more tension cable requires, the more expensive the whole installation will be. As well as installing curtain walls, the robot can also fit solar panels and other construction surfaces. It also has the capability to scan, paint, clean, and replace damaged parts as the building is needed repair. This system has 2 advantages. One is the effective reduction of installation time when building curtain walls. The second is the reduction or minimizing of safety risks. The risk of working at a height is eliminated or reduced, as there is much less risk of our workers falling from a building site. It really seems that robot construction is something to pay a lot of attention going forward. On that note, let's finish up with a few infrastructure-related stories. Mexico sets another $11.5 billion in infrastructure projects, from APnews.com. Mexico announced another round of 29 private and public infrastructure projects Monday worth about $11.5 billion, which are expected to break ground by the end of 2021. The majority of the plans are for highways, energy, and water projects. The announcement is similar to a roughly $14 billion package of 39 building works announced in October. The largest single plan announced on Monday is a $2.35 billion liquefied natural gas terminal to be built in Baja California by Ionova, a subsidiary of the U.S. company Sempra Energy, which is expected to start in January. The initiatives are part of a plan for projects worth as much as a quarter of the nation's gross domestic product by 2022, meant to create as much as 185,000 jobs. Next up to Georgetown. Georgetown receives $1.45 million grant to aid in water infrastructure improvements from Nick Masuda at PostandCourier.com. Some 25 months after Hurricane Florence hammered Georgetown County, the U.S. Department of Commerce announced on Wednesday that it awarded $1.45 million grant to the city of Georgetown to aid in making water infrastructure improvements needed to support commercial and industrial growth in the aftermath of the hurricane. The grant is officially handed down by the Economic Development Administration that plays an important role in supporting locally developed natural disaster recovery and resiliency strategies. These infrastructure improvements will prevent contamination of the land and waterways surrounding the facilities, decrease service interruptions during future storm and other disasters, and increase Georgetown County's economic growth and resiliency in the long term. The grant will be matched with $364,740 in local funds. The Waccamaw Regional Council of Governments played a key role in securing the grant, bringing the public and private sectors to create an economic development roadmap to strengthen the regional economy, support private capital investments, and create jobs. Now here's an inspiring quote to wrap up the rest of your week. It's from Muzamil Hussain from episode 112 of the Civil Engineering Podcast. There he says, "You don't need to be excellent at everything you do, but be authentic, understanding, and be a good listener to those around you." I really like this quote. I think half of being a good engineer is being a good listener and being able to ask questions. Through this process, you'll not only enhance your authenticity as an engineer, but build your knowledge base and progress your career forward. And there you have it. That's what's happening this week in civil engineering. You can find references to all the stories mentioned at twice.news. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/engineering careers. Remember to also subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, our YouTube channel for the video version. I'm Kamini Fenley signing off. I'll see you next time. Have a happy holidays.